G'day everyone, and thank you for journeying along with us on the First Nation Story Trail. My name's Bek Hatfield, and I'm joined by Aunty Jo Randall, who has written a beautiful poem about her life growing up in Grafton. Jo, it would be great to hear a little bit more about the inspiration for the poem and just have a little bit of a yarn about your time growing up and living here over the last, 60 or so years.
Hi, Rebecca. It's lovely to be here, and I love to share a little story about my Grafton days. I think the inspiration of my life has always been my dad and mum. Dad being Bunjalung, Mummy being Gumbaynggirr, and with the knowledge that they gave us growing up with our culture and that, to everyone, your Aboriginal culture is just so important. It is great to sit and listen to your elders, and now also to some younger generation who have also picked up stories from their elders, their mum and dads, their aunties, because growing up with culture is just an amazing thing to do. But in Grafton, when I was growing up, my mum and dad, they weren't allowed to talk about their culture. It was taboo. If they spoke about their culture, it was quite easy for them to be taken away, and we would have been the stolen generation. So, yes, when in the darkness of our house, late at night, Dad and Mum used to talk a little bit about their culture and used to share with us. So today, having the opportunity to learn your language, learn more about your culture in an open and safe way is just amazing.
So in your poem, you talk about going and picking beans and peas and all different types of vegetables with your family. Can you tell us a little bit more about kind of some of those memories that you had of doing that?
You see, when we were growing up, we were very, very, very poor. And my dad worked on the railway. My mum was a home mum. Yes, she used to go and try and get a little jobs here and there to make ends meet. But when I was 4, I say that was my first job. And we went out and we had to pick for peas, beans, and then when I was about a teenager, I had to go out and we had to pick potatoes. That was the hardest job ever. And the rows was so long. And if you ever get a chance, listen to Troy Cassadaly's song, Bean Pickin' Blues, because that's exactly about what we used to do.
Yeah, so you've kind of shared with me a little memory of you and your cousin falling asleep one time. Would you mind sharing that with everyone again today?
Yeah, there was a cousin of mine. We were both young. And yes, we were down there, we were playing around the rows, and his mum and my mum, they were busy picking. Well, you wouldn't believe it, we went missing. When they were looking for us, we were both curled up with each other in the bean patch. And God bless, a tractor actually went over where we were and we weren't injured at all. So that was one memory of going out there.
It's pretty remarkable that you didn't get hurt by the tractor. It's kind of how I wonder that happened.
I think we had somebody watching over us on that day, so we were good.
Yeah. And so, also in your poem, you talk about Jacaranda Festival being a really big thing. Can you tell me, I guess, when you were a school student, what were some of the things you would do as part of Jacaranda?
Well, I attended St. Joseph's Catholic School over at South Grafton, And on the Grafton side, at that time, they had a boys' school called St Aloysius. They had a girls' school called St Mary's. So what we had to do, we had to come across to Grafton, and we used to practice down where St Ali's were. The nuns and the brothers, they used to have a program done for us. And every week we used to come over and we used to practice and practice and practice. But on the day that we had to do our dance at the Grafton Showground, all that hard work and practice, it just came wonderfully together. Everybody was sitting up in the grandstand at the Grafton Showground. People were right around sitting in on top of the whatever they could sit on, actually. And it was amazing because it brought kids, black and white, families, black and white, together to see all the students perform from all different schools celebrate Jacaranda.
So what kind of dances did you have to do?
Well, I remember one year we actually had crepe paper on us. I thought I was so deadly because I had a big dress on made out of crepe paper. Another year we had to do countries and we had to wear our winter uniforms. So, in Jacaranda time, it's really, really hot here in Grafton. So we were sweating, but again, the day was wonderful.
Yeah. And so you would dress up and so you would do different kinds of dances. So it was just kind of choreographed dances.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, the nuns and the brothers, they had it organised so well. It'd be lovely if we could actually catch a glimpse of a video or something on that to show people, because like the Grafton Showground, well, it's huge, still huge, and to have all these students on there at a time, it would have taken for hours and hours for the nuns and brothers to have this all developed. So it was a big day. Yeah.
And are there any other kind of memories of Jacaranda or going to the show that kind of stick out to you?
Oh, well, when you think about today, being involved now in River Dreaming, 2019 was our first big show, you could call it, at Market Square. So it's funny when I look back, when I was a little tiny girl and going to Market Square and dancing there before we actually went down to the Grafton Showground, I'm involved now with the most wonderful community people in delivering a show of Aboriginal culture to share now with a lot of non-Aboriginal people here in the Grafton area.
And what does it mean to you to be able to share Aboriginal culture with everyone?
Look, I think it's, once again, I think it's important. I think it just takes your heart away when you see a person smile who you haven't met before and who look at you and say, man, that was a really good day. It makes you feel so positive and so grateful that you've had all this culture built into you now that you can share it. But, we only share part of our culture. We can't share all of it with our sacred sites, a lot of our sacred sites that we can't talk about and things like that, and about women's business, men's business sort of thing, But it's an eye-opener, and having people from overseas that come here for Jacaranda come in and yarn to you, and it's amazing. It's really amazing.
And I guess lastly, you spoke about, getting your first job, well, your second really, after bean picking in 1978.
Yep.
How has, the town changed, and do you see more opportunities for young Aboriginal people to kind of gain employment or get opportunities to be involved in the community?
Well, see, in my life, I only went to Year 10 at South Grafton High School. Back in those days, we had no help. We had nobody to call on. our mum and dad were so strict with us, we had to go to school, right or wrong. And I thought, to be honest, I didn't think I was, I thought I was dumb. I didn't think I was brainy enough to go on and do year 11 and 12, even though a lot of our Aboriginal young girls and young lads went on to year 11 and 12 back in those days. I decided from a young age I wanted to be a secretary no matter what. So I put all my skills into that, and at school, at South Grafton High School, instead of following me other friends and that, I went and took commerce. And commerce to me has helped me all my life, just not in secretarial work, but it's commerce. I think commerce covers a whole deal of different things, budgeting, things like that you use in everyday life. So that helped me then when I went for a job at the CBC Bank. I was the first Aboriginal girl here in Grafton to be awarded a NISA scheme. So that was a scheme where the CBC Bank got paid for having me there at the bank. But I was so grateful for that. I built my way up to I was secretary. I built my way up to ledger keeper, and then from third teller, then to second teller. They asked if I wanted to pursue my banking career to be a first teller, but it was looking after a lot of money, and I wasn't going to do that because second teller was the best thing for me. I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so how did you, I guess, end up working in the community like you are now? How did that kind of eventuate?
Well, when I had my my first daughter, I was able to start work as an Aboriginal health worker here in Grafton. So we covered the areas from Mullaboogulma, Bayugal, Grafton, South Grafton, down to Maclean and Yamba. That opened my eyes about Aboriginal health. Being with my mob up at Bayugal and Mullaboogulma, sitting with the elders up there, they taught me a lot about my Aboriginal culture that I didn't even know. So you have to take time to sit and listen to people. And they were very strict. They only told you what they wanted you to hear. And that's what we didn't ask. It was so respectful that we didn't ask anymore. So I started off working in Aboriginal health. But my background was always for Aboriginal education because I had such a hard time in school. I didn't want to see my kids or other kids growing up to struggle the way I struggled at school. So when I moved over to Lismore and working in the AB study office in Lismore, working at the university, then making my way back over to Maclean, working in the schools. I've been there for now 32 years. That's with the education work. That's education work, working in schools, the unis, the TAFE and everything like that. So it was amazing, like even working in TAFE when you're working with adults, it's amazing to find out what needs they needed. So in the end I sort of said, look, I need a little break. And I went and done a TAFE course myself with the elders, and I loved it. So, you're never too young, you're never too old to start doing a course, to start learning your culture. But the best thing about it is loving yourself, and then you can share your love with your family, your friends, and you just got to enjoy life because, hey, you're only living once. And if you don't live it to the fullest, it's just so downhearting, and a lot of people do not do that. But, we try to make people laugh, we try to make them smile. So if you do make somebody smile, that's fantastic, So you just got to be positive. And that's what I'm going to be doing this year. I'm going to be around positive people because I feel that's the way to go.
And any last words of wisdom that you'd like to share with everyone?
Oh, look, I love being a mum. I love being a granny. And I love being a brother, a sister, and I love being an auntie to a lot of people, black, white, brindle, they all call me auntie. And I think that's out of respect. With my own children, I just love them to death. And the joy that they've given me in life is amazing. And now with grandchildren, it is just more amazing because they keep you alive. They keep you young. So at 62, I don't even feel like 62, and it's great. So I can get out there and still dance and joke around with them and laugh. But the only thing that lets me down a bit is me cooking. I'm still learning how to cook. So, but it's all good. It's all good.
Awesome.